Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Jo Henry Evans to the show. Jo is an award-winning writer and actor hailing from Merseyside, now living in Manchester. His work is a delightful blend of humour and nostalgia, best described as the love child of Victoria Wood, Patricia Routledge, Alan Bennett and Pete Burns, all mixed in with a hearty dose of Merseyside fishwife charm a la Lily Savage. It's an honour to have you with me today, Jo. Hello.
Hello. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you. How are you feeling today? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's really grim in Manchester.
It is,
I'm
isn't
used
it?
to it now. It's absolutely minging, but yeah.
Yeah, apparently we've got some sort of like, I don't know, it was Arctic doom and gloom, I think the weatherman said it was. I mean, it's got a proper name, but it's...
That seems disgusting.
Yeah, it's like cyclonic gloom or something.
That sounds like a nightmare. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I think that's something that my doctor would say that I have, like cyclonic gloom and just...
permanent, and no amount of Prozac can help. Yeah.
What we're going to do today is just talk about creativity. Obviously, you're a writer and actor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other titles as well, do you think? Comedian?
I don't know, because what counts as a comedian?
Do people laugh at you?
All the time, constantly. I can't leave the flat without being laughed at. But yeah, no, in my head, stand-up means comedian, but I suppose it doesn't, does it really?
I mean, most of your work is comedy, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. So I suppose comedy performer, maybe.
I mean, especially like I'm just thinking back to No Hot Ashes. So for everyone listening, Jo wrote and acted in a piece that I directed called No Hot Ashes, and that was, even though it was very serious, it was full of humour. It was very funny.
Yeah, well, I think it is important to, especially with that, to balance it out with stuff, because I think if that particular show had been a straight drama, it would have just been very depressing. You know what I mean? I don't want people to leave a venue thinking, "Oh my God, why have I wasted half an hour or an hour of my life like watching that?" And it's really grim, like people watching EastEnders feel. That's how I feel. So, you know, I think it's important to put humour into it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you just mentioned EastEnders. We will go back to No Hot Ashes, but do you watch EastEnders?
I do. I frequent EastEnders.
Did you watch the live episode last night?
I did yesterday, and it was really good. There were no mistakes that I found. Not that I was looking for them.
Yeah. I watched the last episode. The last live one that I watched was when, do you know the woman who plays Tanya and... is it Jane? And then she's meant to say, "How's Ian?" And then she goes, "How's Adam?" And then they look at each other.
It makes me want to eat my face. Even now, I'm like, I can't. Bless her.
But let's go back to No Hot Ashes, because No Hot Ashes. Why don't you tell the wonderful people at home what No Hot Ashes was about?
No Hot Ashes. Wow. Okay. No Hot Ashes is was it about 40 minutes long? It wasn't too long. A two-hander play about a guy who is planning on spiking his partner's drink, and a guy meets him and figures that out. And it's just those two alone in a smoking area of a gay club discussing it.
Like a two-hander, wasn't it? It was, and you played the sort of the angel that appears, the sort of.
I was the nice one.
Yeah, it's a change, isn't it?
I know it is. With Will B, who played, I can't remember which way the characters were called. I think Tyler.
Didn't you write it, Jo?
I did write it, which it seems like 400 years ago I wrote it, but I did. I think I was Tyler and Will was Sam, which, now that I've said it out loud, is the name of John Sims' character from Life on Mars, but that wasn't intentional.
That is brilliant, though. That's a good reference. I mean,
no. I'm quite made up with that, actually, subconsciously thinking about John Sim.
The wonderful thing about that play was, I mean, not only was the director amazing,
Of course, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
no,
It was all right.
that was I was the director. I know that was actually my professional debut, so it was a good show to debut with.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
but the great thing about that was obviously it was a two-hander, and the topic was very, I mean, spiking, especially, I think it still is a massive issue in
Oh
Manchester, but
yeah.
at that time, it was huge. I mean, I was reading stories almost like every week about
Hmm. Hmm.
incidences. So, and we obviously performed it at New York, New York, which is a gay bar on Canal Street.
Yeah.
And I think the great thing about that work was it obviously is that was such a very like heavy subject matter, and it was like you sort of said before, it was quite, you know,
Yeah, and I think performing it in the bar in the venue as well sort of added to that a bit. I think it wouldn't have hit the same maybe if it was in a standard theatre place.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it is quite, and I think it still is. I'd like to do it again at some point.
Oh,
It's quite it's still relevant. Like I still see, stories about it probably weekly in the news and stuff. So I don't think it will ever, unfortunately, not be relevant. That sort of story.
but you handled it as a writer and I guess as an actor as well in a quite a good way, that you added quite a lot of humor into the piece, and you really had that sort of ebb and flow of light and dark, and there was some really quite low moments for the characters, but then also some quite high moments, quite literally high moments. But I guess let's, if I can ask a little bit about the process of writing that. How does that come about? How, as a writer, how do you sit down and decide, okay, this is, I'm gonna write a show about spiking, and also I think there was also obviously sort of themes of domestic abuse in there as well. So how does that
Yeah.
come about?
For me, for writing anything, whether it's No Hot Ashes or anything else that I've written, I let it stew in my head for probably far too long, like before I actually put pen to paper. Um, I can get inspired by anything. It's usually actually by music. I find music quite inspiring because I think everything I've written has involved real music, as in like songs. It's got, and I think No Hot Ashes did as well, twice actually. I
Girls
just
Aloud.
exactly it had a Girls Aloud song in it.
Yeah.
Um, I will hear a song and I can just see, or in my head, in my mind's eye, a scene playing in my head when I listen to music. So that usually inspires me a lot. But with something like No Hot Ashes, it was just everywhere. It's just, and spiking still is.
Yeah.
And it was important because it doesn't glamorize spike. I thought, I was very much. I don't think anyone who watched the play would think that I would be promoting spiking. It was the process for writing that one in particular. It was actually quite. It went through a few drafts and a good few months of R&D as well. It was a longer process than it usually is for me, especially considering it was quite a short play. But I do sit with an idea for months and months, sometimes years in my head without actually doing anything, even if it's just like one scene that I can't shift or get out of my head that I know I have to use. The writing is the last bit of the process for me, and then obviously that'll go through drafts and stuff. But yeah, I think what I'm saying is I think I'm coming out as a procrastinator, and I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to doing anything productive. And I just rather think, and then it happen. I think that's basically what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think I'm getting the procrastination sort of
Hmm.
vibe. But I think we all procrastinate as creatives. I think that's something. But I sort of, I wonder as well. Obviously, you performed in it, and does that, as a writer now being an actor in your own piece, does that give you like a different perspective? Because I know as a director, I picked up that script, and I just picked it up at the point at which it was ready to be performed.
Hmm.
So as a writer, and then obviously going into the next stage as an actor, do you sort of in rehearsals, or did you in rehearsals sort of go, oh, I wish I'd changed this, or I wish I'd done this, or or do you just like have a different mindset at that point and you just are in a different mode?
I only really get a sense of wanting to change something if it doesn't get, say, a joke or something, like a one-liner, if it doesn't get received by the audience well. So it's until it's far too late in the process to change anything.
Yeah.
Say if you've written a line that you think's funny, but it just gets a few chuckles in the audience.
Which we didn't. You didn't get any. You got it,
Any awkward.
No, it was all.
No, but that's the point when I'd be like, oh God, I wish I rewrote that. I wish I changed that. But I'm sort of annoyingly. I don't think I did it much with this one, but I have been known to ad lib a bit and to improv and make things up on the spot, which is awful because it throws the other people off. But I think if I think of something funny in the moment, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's my piece. I don't care.
Yeah.
I wrote it. Who knows any different other than the poor people that are
that you're in the scene with,
that are doing it with me. Yeah, yeah. It does come to a point. I'd never write a part specifically so I could be in it, if that makes sense. I'd never go, I'll make sure this part fits my style of acting or whatever. I'd only be in a show if I think if I could be in it. If like I've written things like recently, like a short play, and it wasn't me. It was it's for other people, which is fine. I like that as well. But I'd never purposely put myself in something because I think it can become a vanity project in a way if you just cast yourself in everything. But then sometimes you have to cast yourself in things because no one else is casting you.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I think this is obviously a reality of working, especially on the fringe, is that opportunities sometimes can be quite sparse. And so,
yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though. I think if, you being in the industry, making your own opportunities is sometimes the best way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I have done it before, with other shows and stuff. Obviously, which ones you've seen, but I'm cautious of I don't want to play the same sort of character in everything. You know what I mean. I wouldn't write myself into everything because I just think I don't know. Everyone needs to see my face all the time. It's fine. I'm happy with just being a writer and letting, but with No Hot Ashes, I felt that I could do the character of Tyler justice. If he was called Tyler, he could have been called Brenda. I don't remember. I could have done that justice.
You've slept since you wrote that. I think it? Yeah.
Oh, it was years ago. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't remember.
Well, let's talk then more about a more recent piece that you did, which was the more so Nata.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew this would come up.
Yeah, and obviously, so Nata started off as a short piece, didn't it? It was like for Fringe, and
yes,
it was more long form recently. Was it July for the?
Yes, it was for the Manchester Fringe. We did it at the Edge Theatre in Chorlton. But yeah, it had for a few years before. So the first Nata was actually in 2022 as a 10-minute piece above the King's Arms pub in Salford. That's where it started. And then it's sort of each time the cast check. I mean, I stayed the same, obviously. Oh God, no! I sound like a real narcissist now. I don't cast myself in everything, but I'm in this one.
I can redo the intro if you want and include narcissist.
Narcissism, yeah.
Professional narcissist.
Call my therapist up as well and just get her to confirm my personality disorder traits. So the cast changed, but I stayed as the character of Linda. We'll explain that. But it was recently on last year and it did very well. Even though it was on the same night as the election. So thank you, Starmer and Rishi Sunak for calling that. Thank you.
Let's tell them, the listeners at home, about Nata, because Nata is, I personally think it's one of the most incredible pieces that I've ever seen on the Fringe. I absolutely love it. So let's tell them at home what it's about if they've not seen it.
Nata is two old women, Linda and Helen. I play Linda and my friend John plays Helen. We're obviously dressed up as old women and it's set in 1980s Salford and it is just those two, Nata and people off, and there is an underlying theme to all the longer play, because how the longer play works is it's sort of 5 episodes in one. So it's 10-minute scenes, 15-minute scenes, but there's sort of like an underlying arc or thread going through them. But yeah. So it's very sort of cozy British humour, specifically Northern humour, I'd say, which is sort of my type of humour. It's very royal family. It's very Victoria Wood. And I
Sissy
know
and Ada.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
exactly. See,
Yeah.
when people first said that to me, I was like, "Who is Sissy and Ada?" But now I do know. Thank you, Les and Roy, for being my forebears. Forefathers? No, what?
Forebears. I think that's something you'd find on Canal Street, isn't it? Forebears.
Yeah, not for me, love. They wouldn't be finding me. Forefathers, my forefather. Anyway, I don't have.
I think I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. Someone's got to know what I mean at some point. I must sound really thick. Yeah, so it's set in Linda's living room, and they're watching telly, and say people off, and it's about Linda also coming to terms with her homosexual son as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Unheard of in comedy, I know. It's never been done.
I think though it's one of those pieces that it took me when I first watched it by surprise, because the setup is quite obvious at the beginning. Like when you're on stage, the pair of you in sort of old lady drag.
Yes, yeah.
You kind of look at it and go, okay, I know what's about to happen. But then it quickly quite fast you become like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And I just found it something that is very you explore subject matters that, as someone who wasn't alive in that time, there was a lot of exploration around Section 28 and the HIV and AIDS crisis. I think it was a very unique perspective on some of those experiences that especially gay men were experiencing in like the 1980s. I mean, but also again, those are quite heavy subject matters, but met with and dealt with humor. And I mean, I'm if I'm not mistaken, I mean, some of the sort of lines were like the Didsburys had a branch of the mafia. The character is not physically or mentally challenged. He just comes from Ormskirk.
That's the one.
The Isle of Man should no longer be considered being in the north, which I think that's quite a valid one. And
that comes from my dad. Yeah,
does it?
He really kicks off whenever it comes on Granada Report. He's like, why are they reporting on Douglas? Yeah. Anyway.
And Stockport should be napalmed.
Yes.
Where did that all come from? Because I quite like Stockport.
I don't mind Stockport. My friend lives there.
Wow.
And I knew they'd be watching, so I thought, well, I'll throw in something. I'll throw in something for them. And also, Les Dennis lives in Stockport, and he gets a shout out in the play. So everything comes back to Les Dennis eventually.
Brilliant. I mean, I love your mind. I absolutely adore your mind. Because
I like poking fun at friends when I know they're watching. That's like, I even if it's just an in-joke between me and one other person, I'm like, I'm going to do that. I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, obviously, like, so how old are you, Joe?
Isn't that the question? I'm 26.
You're 26?
Yeah.
No, you've got quite an old, because I'm also 26, and I get a lot of your humour, but I don't think other 26-year-olds in our world would. You've got quite an old sense of humour.
Yes.
Where does that come from, do you think?
I think it comes from probably my parents, especially my mum. She has the same sense of humour, but also, well, I suppose from being raised on Victoria Wood and stuff like the royal family, just things like, I know I'm gonna keep mentioning them, but and old Corrie as well, classic Corrie, before it all went a bit wrong. That's my opinion.
It's a valid opinion.
Stuff like, thank you. I say that. I've actually got a vintage 1980s Corrie calendar on my wall, and Vera and Jack are staring at me as I do this. And on the other side, Hilda Ogden. I've got two. Anyway, yeah. So it comes from that. My friends sort of have the same sense of humour, so I'm sort of in an echo chamber of campy kitsch, sort of naff British Northern humour. You know what I'm? So to me, it's not so unusual. And when I meet people that don't get it, I'm like, why? What's wrong with you? Instead of me having an issue, because obviously I don't have any issues. It's their issue for not understanding. But I think the Nata doing as well as it's done, it goes to show that it sort of is a universal thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the whole audience, and it's filled with different ages and ethnicity. A lot of different people have been to see Nata, but they all sort of laugh. So I think that style of Northern humour transcends as well.
Yes, definitely.
Whether it would transcend below Stoke, we don't know. But so far in Manchester, it's been fine.
I think though, what is clever about, especially a lot of your writing that has that sort of, I don't want to say old-fashioned, because we're only talking about the 1980s. That's not that long ago.
Yeah, and old-fashioned sort of makes it sound like it's racist.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is no racism. And yeah, okay. We're definitely not that old-fashioned. But I think something that you do very well is that you actually do incorporate your, I guess I'm just paraphrasing here, so you can correct me, but I would see it as you being in the generation that you're in. You bring in some of that knowledge and humour from, I guess, what you could say is a younger generation would understand as well. So I think that helps it when you talk about transcending. I feel like you don't have to necessarily know the references to know that they're funny. They are just, everything that you write is funny, and I am actually genuinely meaning that, not just trying to be complimentary.
not just saying it.
Yeah, you're not paying me, are you?
No. Am I? Hell no.
I mean, if you did, I would say more things like that. So
no, of course, yeah. If I slipped you 20 quid,
not for 20, at least 25.
I don't have 25 quid these days.
No one does.
No one
Cost of
does.
living. So
I thought you said custard living.
Custard living. Oh, here's a question.
I thought. Okay.
So speaking of custard,
roll with that. What? I like custard. Wait, what?
Well, I was going to say hobnob or custard cream. I got asked this the other day.
Oh, custard cream.
Really?
Shadow of it. Custard cream's my favourite biscuit, hands down. Like whatever. So
that's the same as me. But when I got asked, I got looked upon as if I'd just said something revolting.
No, custard cream. I tell you what, and I'm not paid or sponsored by them, but M&S custard creams.
Oh yeah, have you had the double filled ones?
Yes.
Filth.
Oh dear. See, this is Nata. This is
absolute filth. Honestly, it's the best. I've recently discovered, and they're not custard creams, but Aldi does chocolate coated like rich teas.
Do they? Oh, see, that might come in handy because in Nata we eat rich teas.
Yeah, well,
there's a plate of rich teas on stage with us, so that might come in handy.
It's a game changer. But I did go into my local store and I was looking for them, and I was like saying to the woman, like, where are they? Where have you put them? And she was like, I don't think we've got any in stock. And I was like, can you have a look, please? And then I had to catch myself because I thought, I'm actually getting aggressive now.
You're actually doing this, yeah, to this poor Aldi woman. And Aldi's stressful enough. It's like Guantanamo Bay. It's just dreadful.
It's really stressful when they are busy and you go to the actual checkout and you're not allowed to pack your bags at
my God, I know. It's mental. Especially the one on Market Street is in Manchester is closest to me. I can't go in there anymore.
I can't go into the Lidl on Piccadilly Gardens.
Oh no, I know.
Because there was a man in there, and I don't know whether he was on like Man versus Food or something, but he was cramming like pan au chocolats and croissants into his mouth, and they were just dropping onto
just before like paying for them and just
taking them off the little bakery.
Oh dear! I mean, I get it, but Not in
Like,
public.
yeah, I mean, he obviously had a need for it. Like there was,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
desire. It was surreal. He was just stood there, and there was someone who worked at Lidl just kind of stood next to him, like,
Just, I
what's
mean,
going
because
on?
how do you stop that? Because you're not going to drag them out of his mouth, are you? Because that's minging. So,
No, and also like like you said, I understand that in that moment, like that if that's the therapy that person needs, like
oh my god,
who are
yeah,
we
just
to
let
deny
him.
them?
Yeah, I mean, I support shoplifting all the time. Actually, in that Lidl, someone accused me of shoplifting a bottle of wine once because it still had the tag on it. One of the security guards was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Ow."
And you definitely paid.
No, I did. Yeah, I did pay, but because who cares? I don't care. He had the tag, because they have the metal thing
Yes.
they have to take. Someone thought I was on the rob, and I was like, well, if I was, why would I rob this? Because I wouldn't be able to drink. I'd have to smash the bottle to get into it because it's tied anyway.
Yeah.
So I've not gone in. I don't go in there either because they accuse me of robbing, and there's men eating all the pastries. So what's the point?
I got accused once of robbing Pound Bakery.
Did you? Well,
I went.
they like it in there. They like it being robbed.
It
You
was
get
one
a
in
reputation.
Burnley as well. And I was in college, and I went in and I bought a like a cheese and onion,
Mm.
pasty, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it didn't have any filling in it, so I took it back,
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, there's no filling in this." And the woman was like, "You've just emptied that out, haven't you?" Like, it's like,
What?
no,
Just spooned out cheese and onion into the bin outside. Like, what?
to get another one, and she was like, "Well, I'm not replacing it," and I was like, "Well, I'll pay for it. I've got money. It's £1, but like,
Yeah.
I can't believe you've just accused me of like scraping out the filling."
Oh my god.
Anyway, we've got sidetracked here.
Yeah, we have, but yeah. Anyway,
But
yeah.
all of these, I feel like, are good pieces of material for you, Joe.
Oh no,
Feel
100%.
feel free to steal them.
Oh,
Pound
I will.
Breaker is a great like comedy sort of drive, if you will.
No, it is. I will sit in there, the one in Salford precinct, with a notepad and just write. That's what I will do. That will be my weekend plans.
They have a sit-in one at Salford.
No, but I can sit on the floor. I can. People probably do that all the time anyway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will Pound Baker over Greg's any day. Sorry, for sure.
I haven't been to either in ages. I don't. Do Pound Bakery do veggie stuff? Because unfortunately, I have the affliction of being a vegetarian. I'm assuming they must do.
Yeah, everywhere does
Surely
nowadays.
do.
For you fussy
Well,
people.
yeah, no, for us, yeah, for us, God, animal loving freaks, yeah, yeah.
Let's get back into the creative talk. So, I've got a question for you. So, I'm in a bit of a creative rut at the minute. As you know, you were part of the writers that had submitted for the show that I unfortunately had to cancel.
Yes, yeah.
And I wondered if you have any advice. Like if you're being commissioned to write something, or if you're feeling, when you get into a bit of a weird dead space with creativity and writing or acting, well, how do you get out of it? What do you do?
It's very difficult, and obviously this isn't going to help because it's different for every person. But I feel, like I mentioned before, music is a big inspiration for me. I can listen to any song and sort of picture it in any scene, whether it's just a rant, not a scene that will ever be written or come to life. But that's how I see music. So I would listen to music, but I'd also watch stuff. When I forget how to write good dialogue, I watch The Royal Family because I think it gets dialogue, especially that sort of dialogue, spot on. So I think watch something that you think is the best. As in, and I think the comedy of The Royal Family is the best. So watch that, and then it might inspire you, or just go out, listen to people.
That's
Because
a good one.
the other two weren't that good.
No, they were all good, but
They were all right. But yeah, listening to people is because you will hear the best conversations when people are on the phone. Because you only hear one side of them, and it always sounds hilarious. Even if it's harrowing, if someone's talking about a funeral, they're like, "Well, I ordered 500 vol-au-vents." Like that's you never hear. When I was over Christmas, I was on the Merseyrail, as I often am because I frequent it. And there was a woman on the phone, and she was shouting at her husband on the phone. And obviously, we can't hear his side of the story. but this older woman, and she's just shouting something like, "Oh no, I left the thank you card on the gas canisters," and it's just ridiculous. And me and my parents, we were just in tears because it was just, she's shouting at this poor bloke. But it's just, I think people are the inspiration, and obviously it depends on what you're writing. Like for me with the comedy, it's easier to go out and listen to people because they're what inspires me. If you're writing something set in medieval Britain, it might be slightly more difficult to go out and listen to people on the Mersey rail. But yeah, I listen to people, go to shops, keep an ear out. Put your headphones in so you don't look that odd.
Yeah.
But don't play music. Just listen to like when someone's having an argument on the bus or in public, and you turn your music down, and you sort of just go, yes, what's that about? Like that. People are the most inspiring, I think. So that's what I'd do if I was in a big rut, which I suppose I kind of am at the minute as well. I don't know whether it's just because it's February and it's a bit grim.
Cyclonic gloom.
Yes, iconic gloom, as we were prescribed by your doctor. Prescribed? Diagnosed, anyway. I don't know anything about the medical journal. But yeah, do something that will inspire you. Like I recently finished, again, I'm not being paid, Big Boy Series 3, and that was very inspiring because that was fabulous. I watched that with my housemate, and we did it all in one day, which I don't really like doing, but sometimes you can't stop,
No, I've watched...
What's that thing? Once you stop, you can't stop. Is it like having a Jaffa cake or something? What is it? Anyway, carry on.
What, as in like an advert?
Yeah, it was like once you bop, you can't stop. I don't know.
It? Like the...
No.
Twist it. Bop it.
Forward. Yeah.
Forward.
Forward.
That is so filthy, that game. I hate that game.
I know. I never had one. I just used to play it in Tesco, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think
what was I talking about?
You were talking... I'm just trying to think. I can't think of the advert, but I think the Jaffa Cake one, was that not half moon, full moon?
Oh.
No.
Gone. Yeah. And yeah. Because Oreo was first you twist it, and then you lick it, and then you dunk it or something.
Right, this is a family-friendly show, Joe. Yeah?
I'm talking about Oreos. Hell's teeth. God.
Do you remember...
Very well behaved.
Do you remember the Terry's Chocolate Orange with
Dawn French? Yes, I do.
I watch those.
It's mine. Yeah.
I watch a compilation sometimes on YouTube.
No, I did that a few months, which I think is a sign of something. But I watch a lot of old adverts on YouTube. Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, I do. I remember that viscerally. I used to have nightmares about the lottery advert, because when I was a kid, because a big hand comes out of the sky and says, I think, what does he say? He says something like, "It could be you," and he points at someone. It used to give me nightmares. Honestly, it used to really freak me out. Anyway.
Do you know, it's weird. I sort of look back now at some of the adverts that were on TV, and they are quite scary.
Oh God, 100%. I think during Blur's Britain, there was a lot of road safety adverts, like the two hedgehogs. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But then they'd also have dead kids on advert, which is horrifying. And saying I've been hit by a car. Look at me. This is what happens if you speed. And it's just like a cadaver on the roadside. It's horrible. It used to haunt me.
God.
Honestly, there was a really bizarre. I mean, how dare they push for road safety?
I know.
It was dreadful. But yeah, there was a lot of haunting, like a boy who'd been hit by a car, an animated boy, obviously, who was had no legs left, and he was, on the roadside. It was just horrible. I'd be watching SpongeBob, and that would come on. I'd be like, oh my God.
I remember, not as horrifying, but I remember vividly the Cravendale advert used to make me literally shiver. Do you remember? It was like a biscuit boy, and it was like a weird voice, and it was like a song about...
Oh, I can see a face in a biscuit. Is that right? Yeah. No, that's horrifying.
And it would it was like some sort of weird puppet, and it was like, I'm going down to the river, and it was like a milk river. Yeah, that used to...
Yes, I do. Yeah. Oh, yes, I do. And he was like, yeah. Oh no, that was... And does he drown?
I think he just
the milk.
Yeah, he jumps in the river and then he becomes all soggy, like a soggy biscuit.
That's horrible. George, Listen, right. I've been told to behave on this podcast. You're here talking about soggy bleeding biscuits.
And that's all we got time for today. Moving on. Completely
Please.
accidental.
Anyway, adverts are weird. Dawn French is okay.
But these are all inspiration, I guess, sometimes, aren't they? These sorts
Yeah,
of
they
things.
are. Because there was because Nata back to Nata.
Yes.
There's it. Each episode starts with, I call them episodes. They're like scenes. Each
Yeah.
episode starts with a different TV theme tune. So the first one is Countdown. Obviously, they're all from the 80s. One is Bullseye.
Oh,
One
wow.
is Neighbours. One is Blind Date. And I can't remember for the life of me what the other one is. But TV is very inspiring as well. Like that, like adverts. Maybe not so much nowadays, because I think adverts are just, they're not
They're not what they
what they
are.
were. No.
No.
Not to sound like a miserable old fart in my
We're not in the
80s.
golden age anymore of
No,
advertising, are we?
no, we're not. No. But anyway, down with capitalism, etc. But there was talk of doing adverts in between transitions
Right.
of NASA, but it was just too much of a faff, and we chose TV tunes instead. TV theme tunes. It's, oh my god.
And were they all TV theme tunes that were inspiration for? Was there like a reasoning behind them? I know you said they were sort of like from the 1980s when it was set, but were they inspiration for the characters, or was it just random?
It spurs on conversations in the show.
Right. Okay.
So, for example, Blind Date music plays and then I saw Cilla Black, which I think, a lot of people do. Even to this day.
No.
I know. She was lovely.
It's a national treasure.
Everyone's only got a good word to say about her.
Can you do an impression of her?
No.
Go on.
What did she? Oh, when she's in Benidorm.
Yeah, Consuela.
Consuela. You know these people, Donald. Yeah. What are you doing in my house?
Brilliant.
You can't see me, but I'm pulling my teeth out as well. My teeth are on show when I say it. What are you doing? So there's that. Yeah. So it spurs on conversations, and obviously when the first one starts and it's countdown, we're playing along with it and trying to figure out what to, how to play countdown, which I can't do. I can do the number. No, I can't. I can do the letters, but not the numbers on countdown.
Oh, I failed maths and English, so I can't do either.
Oh dear! And now look at you.
I know you can't have a book. You're thick. That's what
Oh dear! What a sorry affair. But yeah, no, I can't do maths.
No,
either. I refuse to do it. Which is a nightmare for tax. But
yeah,
I'm sure I'm doing it right.
Don't pay it.
No, that's true. I'm very similar to Gary Barlow in a lot of respects. I don't pay tax.
You could go down the Lorraine Kelly route and just didn't she say it was a character?
She did. No, she did say it was a character. I can't believe she got away with that.
I love that.
People. I mean, it's like William Roach going, "Oh, I play Ken Barlow, so I shouldn't pay tax." And you know what? That one's fair. But you know what I'm like?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that would work on me. I'd be like, "Oh, fair enough."
Are you still on Twitter? Because I've come or X. Twitter formerly. Are you still on X?
I am through gritted teeth.
Yeah.
Are you? I did get Blue Sky. Is it Blue Sky?
Blue Sky, yeah.
But it was a bit boring.
Yeah, nothing was going on there.
None of the fun. It was just a lot of annoying people from Twitter moved over there. So I was like, right, well, you're gone now, so Twitter's going to be nicer. It's not nicer. It's horrid. And everything seems to be just spiraling worse. And
but I only ask because I've come off of X, but one of the things that I used to keep up with was the Lorraine Kelly count.
Oh, yeah.
What are we on now? Do you know? Have you?
Well, it's half term this week, my darling. So I know for a fact that Christine, no longer Bleakley because she's Lampard, has been presenting it all week.
Yeah, but aren't her children all grown up? Why does she need?
Yeah. I mean, I think she's come out and mentioned it and says that she finds it quite funny. It's just a bit tongue in cheek, I think. But I don't know. But a lot of them do that. A lot of like radio DJs will go off in half term as well.
Scandalous.
And I've noticed Jeremy Vine isn't on either. He's not got a countdown page, has he? He's not to be seen.
No, well, this is the thing. But I think when your show is called Lorraine Kelly and
You
it's
should probably be in it. Yeah,
that's
no,
a big
fair
one.
enough. Yeah.
Look, we're running out of time. Oh,
We haven't even
no.
we've been speaking about biscuits and adverts and Lorraine
No.
Kelly.
But I feel like we've got a very good idea of your wonderful work. And I think it's something that I feel like I want you to come back and we should talk again.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to talk more. I'd love to talk more about film and stuff. So that would be fabulous.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's organise an episode where we just talk about films. I think that would be great.
Please. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
well, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
And I will make sure that I link all of your social medias to the description. But thank you again, and make sure that you are keeping yourself creative and happy in these coming months. Hopefully,
darling,
summer will be around the corner and it'll be a little bit easier if you're in a bit of a creative rut. But thank you so much for joining us, and see you again soon.
See you. Bye. Thank you.
You've been listening to It's a Wonderful Life with George Bailey, in conversation with Joe Henry Evans. Don't forget to check out our website at www.lifewithgeorge.co.uk, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at George Bailey Podcast, and join our Facebook community at It's a Wonderful Life with George Bailey. You can listen to all of our episodes on any of the platforms that you get your podcasts from, and thank you for tuning in.